My name is Dwight Henry.
Okay, and what's your position with the city?
I serve on the Cookeville City Council.
Okay, and how long have you been with the council?
Well, my first term was 1985 to 88 when I served as mayor, and then I served again on city council between 98 and 2002, and this term started 3 years ago. So this is my third term, and I will have completed like 11 years when this one's over.
All right, now we're here to talk about the Department of Leisure Services. So what leisure services event stands out most in your mind?
I really could name several, but if I had to identify one, it would probably have to be the Daddy-Daughter Valentine's Gathering. I attended the very first one back in the mid-'80s with my young daughter at the time. It was held at Tennessee Tech. There was like 20 couples in a little small room, and it's grown now to 4 nights and hundreds of people. So I could talk about a lot of them certainly, but that one I guess is the most memorable for me personally, and to see how it's grown in our community.
Excellent. Now, what are you most proud of in the Department of Leisure Services accomplishments?
I guess across the board, how it really has enhanced the quality of life in our community. If you're talking about plays, if you're talking about concerts, if you're talking about movies, if you're talking about classes, I mean, it has added so much. Being there at the beginning and watching it back in the mid-'80s, recreation was basically softball. And now Leisure Services is taking it to a whole nother level. So I guess the accomplishment would have to be just the quality of life it's added in all those activities and opportunities for our community.
Well, and you kind of answered our next question, but maybe you could expound on it a little bit. What positive effects have you seen leisure services make on the Cookeville community?
There's so many things that families can do together. There's so many and opportunities that don't cost anything. I'm thinking about Dogwood Park, and you've got movies in the summertime. You've got movies at the depot. You've got concerts almost every week. And these are things that everybody, whether you're small children or grandparents or parents, can come together and enjoy quality entertainment, a quality night, quality event for zero cost. I mean, how do you beat that?
It truly is the meaning of community.
Yeah,
and isn't that great?
It has caused us to bond on lots of levels.
Now, you've seen this department grow, like as you said, from its very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What are the biggest changes you've seen in that time?
Well, we've come from this whole department. We went through a process in the mid-'80s called Cookeville Tomorrow Design for Change. We had about 10 working committees that worked real hard for weeks and weeks and weeks, basically determined where we were as a city, where we wanted to go, and how we wanted to get there. We had like 110 recommendations that came forward out of those work groups. And at the top of the list was develop a well-rounded program of recreation, and this number 2 was hire a professional to run those. And so we came from that, basically offering softball and maybe a park or two along the way, to what it is now. And so it's just the way that it's grown, and it's been such an impact on the community, and the community has really wrapped itself around the offerings of leisure services. It's really something we can all be proud of.
Excellent. What do you expect to see from leisure services in the future?
Oh my goodness. We have got, right now we've got a grant for a skate park that we're moving through. We took a trip just last week as we record this to 3 communities who have aquatic facilities that we certainly hope to pursue as a council, and hopefully the next council. So, and of course, continue to enhance all that we're doing now. But those are the 2 major things that literally are on the horizon that could be available under the umbrella of leisure services.
Cool. Do you have anything else to add, Dwight?
Oh, there's a lot I could add. But we've only got 10 minutes, right?
Well, you've got as much time as you want.
I would say this, and I'll try to be concise about it. I went through this process, Cookeville Tomorrow. I got a call at the end of that process from Pascagoula, Mississippi, which I didn't think was a real town at the time. The governor said, "This is the mayor of Pascagoula, Mississippi." I thought it was a song that Ray Stevens wrote. Remember that song where he referred to Pascagoula? I said, "You are not." He said, "Yeah, I am." So I said, "Well, how can I help you?" And he said, "Well, you went through this process. Would you come? We're going through a similar process, a planning process in Pascagoula. Would you come and talk to our group about it?" A couple hundred people from the chamber. So I flew out there and addressed that group and talked to them about what we accomplished and how we did it. And I mentioned the leisure services program, the Daddy-Daughter Dance, and I talked about a lot of other things too. And I opened the floor for questions at the end of my comments, at the end of my presentation. And I'm telling you, 60% of the questions had to do with that Daddy-Daughter event, and that so it shouldn't have surprised me about how that's grown over time. But they wanted to know more about that than anything else, and I guess that still stands out in my memory after all this time.